Howdy. How is everybody? New project today. Today we are going to be making a wide knotted neck. Sounds quite sexual, doesn't it? One of my members, hi Dave, reached out and was saying he's struggling to learn to play guitar. His own words, he has sausage fingers. And he's struggling with fretting and all that sort of bits and pieces. And asked if I could make him a wider neck. I was like, yeah, we can do that. So we settled on a 50mm, which is chunky, wider than a 7-string nut. It's going to have some girth to it. We went back and forth about materials. We're going to be making it out of this cool piece of like a tiger stripe flame maple. That's very nice. And we are going to be using a bog oak fingerboard. It's like 3,500–4,000 years old. That's going to be cool. All came from my buddy Neil down at Feel Good Wood, who's an hour that way. Yeah. Confession time. I have already made the template. I'd already done this once, and I watched it back, and I was like, there's too much waffling and not enough concise information. Yeah, so I sacked it all off, and we're doing it again. I thought it'd be easy just to show you this is what it is, as opposed to going like, oh, we need to do it. Fucking dull. Hate the sound of my own voice. Right, so let's bring you in and show you what we have. Neck, 50mm there. Standard heel width, so still 56mm. We've got the strap, a little round, so it should just fit straight into his strap back at home. 50mm across there. What we've done is worked out the string spacing. So we've got 3.5mm, 3mm. Because you can't just copy a standard 6-string hole pattern, because they're going to be too small, aren't they? Opening it up, what are we doing? 8mm, pretty much, across most. Yeah, if we say an average, most guitar nuts are 42mm. Yeah, obviously we're pushing this quite a ways up. So the headstock's actually quite big. It's getting up for like a 7-string sort of size. But Dave's got 16-line tuners, so you can just swap all the hardware over and it's all gravy. Next thing to note, when working everything out, if you drill your hole, this line is 11mm, which is pretty much the standard width of all hole lines on headstocks and stuff like that for the tuners. You need 11mm off that side to the centre of your hole. So we've got 11mm line, all the lines coming up there to intersect it. But if you put a line or a hole bang in that centre point, the strings, yes, it's bang in line and will go perfectly, but then when you start to turn it on, it's going to bend round in a weird pattern. So you offset that hole half the width of your tuner. And you say most tuners are going to be 5mm, 5–6mm. So come back from that mark 3mm, put your little brad hole in, and then you're golden. So if you look on, like, say, a standard Fender one, that's where the string's going to go. You see it's hitting that side. So the centre of the tune is going to be there. The string will go in, and then that stays there. If it was there, the string then ends up going that way, like it would kick at an angle. Yeah. So you offset the hole. Right, let's drill these out, which is a job that needs doing. This has been thicknessed and left for a couple of days. We're taking this down to 20mm. What I want to get done today is those drilled. This cut out, and then I can just leave it alone for a day. You always, at the minute, it's a skosh over 20 mil, a skosh, just to allow me to plane it if needed. Get it cut out, let it sit, or thickness it, let it sit. Any cutting you do on a neck blank, just do it, let it sit. You can't just take it from being a block of wood down to a neck blank with truss rod in it in a day. Like, you can do it labour wise, but there's every chance this will move. And if you've got it down to the full fat, like 20 mil or whatever your neck thickness is going to be, and it's moved, you haven't got the wiggle room to plane it back out. So just sneak up on it. Just little creepies. Whoop, little bit of work. Whoop, little bit of work. Whoop, little bit of work. Bang, glue it together. It's been a long day.
Because that love is a virtue, it just hurts you no more. This condition you put me in, just to settle your score. With revenge you dig two graves, with love you shake two slaves. Surround me with hate the way it's too late to...
We've slotted the board. That's all done. We've put the little notchy in there for the spoke wheel truss rod. So let's radius it. Now, I am incredibly lazy and cannot be asked to hand sand a radius into a fingerboard. Oh, no. I've done it a few times, or more than a few times. It's fucking long ball ache. You have to make sure you're not pushing too hard on one side, otherwise you put a twist in it. All these things. And then, some clever sausage invented the radius route of doodad jigger. What do I need? I need the 9.5 one though. Okay, now this is dusty. So yeah, 9.5 radius. That clips on there. Let's get rid of the 14. We don't need that one just yet. That clips in there. Oh, one-handed. Come on. There we go. That rolls round. That slides up and down. Puts radius on it. Yeah, stick that down first so it doesn't fuck off that way. So let's do that. It's also really handy for putting a nut slot in as well, so you can do the curved fendery style nut slots. We're going to stick a 9.5 radius on this, just because that's what's on the guitar, so that's what we are going to go with. All my stuff, I've got a slot. We'll do these two in a minute. My stuff gets 12, but as this is going on a Strat, we're going to keep it more Strat-esque. You can get your own one of these from Radius Dish UK. Not a sponsor, but just makes cool stuff. Same for the blade on the chop saw. That's from Radius Dish UK. And then I just bag press for the slotty doodads. Let's put the truss rod and channel in. This is my jig for it. Dead simple, just a bunch of MDF stacked up. So yeah, 20 mil MDF. So I know my neck blank's going to be 20 mil, so it works out and slides over it. Bit of alley L section, 90 degrees. That's all set so the router slides backwards and forwards in it, so it can't go anywhere. Little mark there where my truss rod ends. Just got a block clamp there, so it can't go anywhere. To work out the depth for your truss rod, you've got this little doodad. This is your best friend. So bottom out your router bit and just lock it down. So that is like 0. And then I use just a little bit of playing card. Pop that on there. Then your truss rod. I can't do it one-handed, so you're just going to have to imagine it. Bit of card. Not massive, not thick card. Bit of card, truss rod. Then do your depth stop up to that. And then you've got your point for your truss rod. So you know, yeah, there's a little bit of wiggle room in there. For that, you want to allow a little bit because you want it sitting underneath, just a skosh under the level of the route, because you're going to wrap it in PTFE tape, and that's going to take up a little bit as well. So you want to allow for that. If it's sitting proud or sitting dead flush with it and you wrap it, it's then going to be sitting proud, and then your board's not going to sit down properly, and you're going to have a bit of a gap through it and all that sort of shit. So you want it sitting like, you know, a couple of king skins underneath it, you know, just some gnats. Right, let's make some sawdust. This is how I glue up a fingerboard. Truss rod's in, it's wrapped in PTFE tape, and then I line up that little route with the top and the bottom, that little centre line with the centre line on the board. I'll drill myself 2 holes there just off the centre line, yeah, so I don't hit the truss rod. Do the same down there, a little bit wider apart, so they're in the heel. Cut myself a little cocktail stick, pop them in there, well, take the board off, glue it, pop the cocktail sticks in, pop the board back on, then I know it is perfectly in place, snip them off, and then wrap it in bicycle inner tube, and it will look something like that. There we go. I found it's not the quickest, but it gets consistent clamping force, and I can glue up a few up in one time, as opposed to using like a long clamping cord and a bunch of clamps, because I can only do one at a time. Yeah, way cheaper than buying loads more clamps and another clamping cord, isn't it? Just go to Halfords and buy a inner tube and cut it in half. Job done. Right, we are at this point. A few days have passed. I can't remember where we got to in the last one. But we built some guitars. We've built those 2. We've built that one. That one's going to get done this week. But right, what we have got. Our centre line's transferred round from the front, so we know that already. There's a strap body in for repair, so because I don't actually own a strap, so we've made sure that fits in there. It's all nice. And we're going to copy just the fender heel bit there. Normally for my stuff I do like a curved heel, so my carve line sort of follows right against it, but it looks weird if you're just going to take just a straight, you know, chunky carve at the end. So we're just going to copy the fender like as the router would take that bit out. The headstock, we're going to put a slightly flowier carve in it as opposed to the fender, just straight lines. And we've got some lines on the side. This is how much material is going to get taken away from the top. So that will give us a 21mm at the first fret, down to 22mm at the 12th. Which is going to be very fendery. For my necks, I go for 20mm and it's a bit thinner at the top. But I still want to give, although we're going to have to go with more like a D profile, so there's not a lot on the sides, because if we went with a chunky, it'd be really hard to get your, it's going to be very much like a classical guitar, and it's going to be hard to fret around unless you are sat in the classical position. So I'm going to try and make it a bit more modern playability, but with Fender feels, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's the line of everything there. This is the 2/3 line of the neck thickness. Basically, like, you can do loads of clever maths and bits and pieces. Basically, it's just 3mm from the bottom of the fingerboard down. just draw yourself a line, and that's going to be the line you're working to on the edge. And then for a normal sized neck, from the first fret you measure out 5mm either side, and from the 12th fret you measure out 10mm either side. Draw yourself 2 lines, and that's your first set of lines you work from. Because this is slightly wider, we're going to go out ever so slightly wider, just because it's going to give us a bit of a chunkier back. So we're going to go with, if we say 7mm, to 12mm. Let's increase everything by 2mm. Then connect your lines. Right, and then the first wedge of material you are going to remove is from this line, that one there, to that one there. Normally, and you've seen in all my other videos, I'll just do this with an angle grinder and just lay it on the side and belt it off, which is the quickest and easiest way of doing it. I won't carve the whole neck with it because it's a tricky one to do. Plus, I'm using a really aggressive carving disc on it, but it just, you can hog out material. You can do it with an angle grinder and like a flap disc, and just slowly start bringing it in and shaving it and doing all that sort of stuff and your bits and pieces. But I don't know. But the neck carving is the thing I enjoy most in guitar building. If you're getting a CNC machine to do it, if you're getting, machinery to do it, like I've got a clever jig that a router goes across and does it in bits and pieces. I don't know, like it gives you the repeatability, but for me, it's the cool part of doing it. So yeah, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you do it with a Shinto file, and we're going to bang through it like that. Right, clamped up in neck carving holder jig thing. It's still dead simple like that, just pivots and moves, and then you can clamp it to it. Get yourself a really long cam clamp, and it'll clamp and act as a leg as well, which is, handy. Right, we are gonna come in and we're going to stop around here so we can start the transition out around there, and about there. And we are going to crack on with a Japanese Shinto file. If you're building guitars, get yourself one of them. Makes a short work of doing this, and we are just going to come through and we are going to take from that line to that line, so hog out that whole section. However you want to take it off, doesn't matter, as long as you're getting it off. So you could spoke shave it all off, whatever you want to do. We're just going to throw a few things at it and see what's cracking. So let's have a play. We've got a jammed up spoke shave. This is full of roasted black limber, but this is sharp because we sharpened it to do the last job. Normally what you find with maple as well, especially figured stuff, is it can be quite grabby, and it will tear quite big chunks out. So if you're going to go with flamed, be careful with the spoke shave, because you might end up losing big bits, and you have to go down a bit thinner than you want to just to take out the material and just take out that chunk. But let's hit it with the older Shinto file. That has got us all that off. So repeat on the other side. Shinto Filey. And we're at this point. It takes you as long as it takes. You don't have to rush it. It's just 'cause I've done a whole bunch of them with the file, so we're just hogging material. The next line you need to do is from there to there. Work out where your centre point is, which is about there. Yeah, you can measure it or you can eyeball it, depending on how good your eye is. Draw yourself another line, and then we are going to go from this point to this point. We're just going to hog out that line of material. Yeah, so then we're going to get a couple of little like straight line facety bits. So yeah, let's hog that out. Could you have said these weren't expensive? Well, it's probably because I just fucking said it, wasn't it? I said they're not expensive because it's just, I think the weld's just snapped in the handle, because now it's all gone very wibbly. But luckily, we have got to a point where we can just use this for the basic bits and then files and whatnot for the rest of it. But yeah, here we go. We've got those two bits done. Just knocking out on your transitions. Again, there is multiple ways you can do this and skin a cap. You can get yourself these nice little carving files from Axminster, StewMac, all them sorts of places sell them, like Japanese carving files. You could use a rat tail rasp, you know, however you want to sort of get down to it. You know, you can use a gouge and just sort of come through and just take out that bit of material. You can use your granddad's carving knife. Just come through. Doesn't really matter how. We're just hogging this material out of the way. So whatever way you feel comfortable with and works for you, crack on. Right, that's our finished height. So we want to hog some material out down to there and start getting everything nice and round. If you wanted a chunky neck, leave that there, just start sanding. This will eventually, it'll come down a little bit. But because this is so wide, we want to take a little bit of weight out of this. Just make it a bit easier to play, won't it?
There's no emotion in the ocean, that is just a dead sea. If you're such a queen, you can rule over hate.
That starts to show you everything, so you know where you've got all your low spots, where your high spots are, and you can start working filing and sanding and all the other bits and pieces. Always keep your ruler to hand, but I've lost it. There it is. But just keep an eye on your thickness, like roughly, just so you know what you're aiming for, where you're getting to, and all that sort of stuff. But what we are going to do is go through and just mark everything up. And then come through with like just metal files you don't want the rasp. We're not looking at removing masses of wood now, we're just looking at starting to refine shapes and stuff like that. So a rasp is just going to take too much away and give us more work than we need to do. And you're going to work from a centre point you're still aiming for that line. We're not going to get to that just yet. You can see where all your pencil lines are, so that's where low spots are and stuff like that. So you just want to keep, so we're just going to keep going like that. I'm going to take this line, carve it down around there a bit more when we come to do the transition. At the moment we're still just looking to not rough, like we're starting to refine things, but we're still just roughing it. So we're just getting shapes, we're getting things down to the thickness we want to be looking at and all that sort of stuff. That's what we're looking for at the minute. You're not looking for perfection yet. Right. Transition. This ramps up here just ever so slightly, so we want to take out a little bit of the weight. A little bit of the weight there, so we're staying at the same height, which we pretty much are. Nice. I like to use these Japanese carving files, and I just made myself some handles so it's easier to grip hold of them. Yeah, and you're going to follow, that's your neckline, so you want to take, yeah, we still got our centre line down there, so we're still going to work from that point down, and we're just going to start to carve all this out of the way. Again, however you want to do it. If you want to do it with a knife and just come in and just, you know, keep taking all that bit away. Yeah, cut away from yourself, Simon. Do it properly. Yeah, all that sort of stuff. Whatever you're going to be comfortable with. The like I say, I like these. They're a nice quick cut, but they're not aggressive, so you can come. They will. Yeah, what I quite like is the little rat tail raspy thing. It's really awkward having you guys there because I need to put my hand around everything. Like I'm hugging the camera stand. And sort of a rolly, shapy motion. Here we go. 8 minutes in real time. Don't know what I sped that up to or how I'm going to edit that. Make it slightly more interesting for you. But yeah, that's everything roughed in. We've got roughly the same plane down to there. We've got to double check everything's level and all that first. Yeah. There's still a lot more to do, guys. Don't worry. We're still getting to the process. There's a little bit of weight to come off this bit, but we're just starting to work out where everything's going to be. So I'm going to crack on and do this end, and then we'll get to more sanding. You bet you can't wait. Right, top tip when it comes to making sure you're flat, square and everything else. One, you're going to need to get yourself a square. Just go through, check what you're doing. Yeah, pop it on there. You can see down through it, so you can see there's a slight high bit there. Yeah, that sort of stuff. So you can go, oh, right, I need to transition that out just a little bit more. Same on that side, just need to transition, say the word, around that little bit there. But a good way of making sure the bulk of it is all gravy is get yourself some MDF boards and just slap some various grits on. So I think we've got 80, 120, 180, I think it is. But we can use these to just come in from the centre line or from that line there again. And just slowly start working your way around. So you can see, like very light pass, you can see instantly you've taken a bit off there and not there. So we know we've got a high spot sitting there. You can see that in the light. Here we go. Here you can see. So you got nothing going on there, but you've still got the lines there. So high spot there. So just lightly going around it. You know, we're not. You can be quite aggressive with it and stuff like that, but for the first bit, just first pass, you're just looking at where your high bits are and you're letting the board just mark out everything for you. Then you can come through and be a bit more aggressive in those bits and then start sanding and shaping and all that sort of stuff. There you go. A whole bunch of sanding later, a whole bunch of mess on the floor, and you get yourself up to this is just 220. Gone up through grits and strips with the pulleys. If you want to leave yourself a chunkier edge profile, work to that line and then leave that line basically there and then like very lightly roll that over. I like a more like D sort of profile, a bit flatter, so I just take that line all the way down to the edge of the fingerboard. It just takes off another little bit and just makes it easier in your hand, in my humble opinion. Here we go. This one's more C-shaped. This one's more D-shaped. Way prefer this one. Same neck depths, same thickness, same scale length, same everything else, but prefer that neck profile. Yeah. It is each to their own, but you know, they're my guitar. So yeah, we are just gonna, next up we're gonna thickness this down and then we'll give it a complete final sand and all the bits and pieces. But first, I need some toast. I'm hungry. Couple of 3 different ways you can go about doing this, as with most jobs with guitar building. Somewhere in all these jigs, maybe down there, maybe there it is. I've got a board that like locks a guitar neck into it, and then I've got a Perspex like router sled that will go over it, and I can just router thickness down to where I need to be and slide it around. Only problem with that is it's really vibraty and noisy. Like, it's really fucking noisy. Quickest way and easiest way I found to do, because you still need, even if you do the routering, you still need to clean it up afterwards. You still need to do this nice transition. You can get a Guitar and Woods seller a jig that does the acrossies and then the flippies to do the curve. It's quite expensive. Just do it this way. You need to have yourself a bandsaw. Know that is square, and know how to set your bandsaw up. Draw yourself a line, 14mm from the back of the headstock, and then just cut away a section of the face. You're not going bang on that line, especially with not big old chunky blade on it because the blade likes to wander a tiny wee bit. You're going to keep on this side of the line, take a sliver off, and then we're just going to take it off with the oscillating spindles and the doodad. I also need someone to come and tidy up my workshop. I've added a little chamfery carve on it, just to add je ne sais quoi. Yeah, it's a custom guitar, so should have custom little bits on it, shouldn't it? We've still got a few bits to do. We've still got to add some side dots, but as this is stock white maple, I want to just get the first coat of oil on it just to protect it and give us a look. We've got to drill it and do some bits and bobs and whatnot yet, and still got to fret it and that, but I want to get the first coat of oil on this to protect it, just see what we're dealing with. Yeah, all that kind of good stuff. That looks cool, doesn't it? That's nice and big old stripy flames in there. Oof. Nice. That looks cool as well, doesn't it? Nice. Oosh. Yeah. Yeah. Hope you're happy, Dave. Right, let's get all that buffed off. Right then. We've got a couple of coats of oil on the neck. Went back to the customer, I was like, the maple looks good, but it's like a stark white. I think it needs just a skosh of colour. So we ordered up some Osmo honey. There's had a couple of coats of that on there just to protect it while we're doing some work. There's a few little bits we need to address, but nothing major. I just didn't want to get any like dirty fingerprints stuck in the maple, which would look a bit shit, wouldn't it? We're going to put some dots in it. I've radiused the board just so we know what we're dealing with, and it's nice and flat and everything in bits and pieces, and it's easier to work on, and you can see the lines. And we'll just give it a bit more of a sand later. So we're going to mark the middle. Hello, mate. Don't know if you can see a dog just appeared in the frame. That's Rolo, the sister-in-law's. One of them. I'm dog sitting today. Right. Centre line marked up. Probably can't see that very well because it's a grey pencil on a black board, but I can see it, and that's the important thing. That double and triple check that you have got the right frets. So just number them, yeah? This 30 seconds can save you an absolute headache. Ask me how I know. And the quickest way to find out where you're going to go in the middle is just take point to point on the slots. Your handy dandy radian tool centre finder ruler is bendy enough to bend round, or just get yourself like a really cheap 6-inch rule, and they're generally made out of cheese, so they bend easily and don't bend your nice radian one. Not sponsored, but it's a it's a good bit of kit. And just mark yourself little X, and there off all the way down where everything is. Your 12 fret is kind of up to you where you want to do it. Like, you can mark the middle of that box. Where are we? So rather than being there, you could do 2 center points, so it'd work out there, or like you see some guitars that are all the way out here, sort of thing. So we'll probably go for the middle of those 2 boxes and keep it looking traditionalise. Yeah, looks alright. It's just saying it's 1200. We're not going to go any higher than that, because I glue my frets in and all that sort of stuff, and I can't be asked to go to 4000 grit, because then if you have to do anything to the board afterwards, it's a pain to patch in, basically. Right, let's get on with it. And I wonder why I've got no grass left. Right, you can do this with a drill press, or a drill and a depth stop. Pop that in there, put it in reverse. Make sure you're going slowly. Hold. Bit of CA. Stick your glove together. Bit of gentle persuasion. Blast of that. Job done. Let's give it a wipe over with a fresh coat of oil, shall we? Weirdly, the pine looks like you're having a bad day, doesn't it? Well, honey colour, isn't it? That's what it's supposed to do. We'll give it a little bit of something. That looks nice, doesn't it? Oof. Couple of days, got a couple of 3 coats of oil on this. 3 coats of oil, but we can, now it's protected, we can get some frets put in it and then get it waxed and everything in, so it's all finished over and nice. Let's start doing some fret work. Gonna press them in. We're gonna cut the nibs or the tang off of that ever so slightly, just so it sits in. Then we can backfill those, just so it looks a bit nice and classy, because I am a classy bitch. My fancy little fret holder filey nibby thing is being used on that 71 Les Paul Deluxe that at some point has had humbuckers routed into it. Cool though. Fucking loads of sanding to get the board level. There's all kinds of different radiuses. Nice piece of rosewood on it though. But yeah, back to this. Right. Let's put you in the holder and show you what's occurring. Get yourself a little fret tang nipper. These are nickel, so it's fine using this little one. If you're using stainless, one of these won't do the job. It'll just fucking mangle that part. You either got to cut them by hand or get yourself, it is spenny, but get yourself the StewMac fret tang nibbler thing, whatever they call it. Like the chunky one. It saves you a job. And you're just going to cut it. Hang on. There we go. Get hold of it. Just going to cut it back so it sits inside the little nibbies. If you're doing it on binding, it's good practice to angle that little. Just put a slight little chamfer on that, because if you just if you cut them really close to the binding and hammer them in, you can get cracks down the binding, or you'll get little bits where it pushes it out, and then when you run your hand down it, you can like feel shit. Next, you can buy all kinds of fancy bits and bobs and stuff, or just file yourself a little slot into your block so that sits in, and just take a file and just file it until the tang's gone. Yeah, that's what you've got to do. Just take that little bit off underneath it. Make sure you don't file too far, because you don't want to notch the fret up into it, because your string will sit underneath it and the fret won't ever sit down nicely, and it will look a bit shit. Yeah. What you got to do? Pop yourself a little bit of CA. You don't need to go nuts. You don't need to flood the slot. That's what we're not doing that. We're not gluing the fret in place. We're making sure any little voids underneath it are just 100% filled in. I like to make sure the ends have been given a tap down, and then pop it in the press, and just make sure it's 100% driven home. Dog's having a shout. Yes, this is very decadent that I have a StewMac press. I have one of those, and I've got the StewMac jaws. But I also fix guitars for a living. So I have many different ways of putting frets in that work for many different things. So this is great for bolt-on applications. I like to do fretting on set neck and acoustics in the neck jig, just so it holds everything nice and level, and then I can use those two. They've all got their things. They do different stuff. Like that'll do an acoustic. All that kind of shit. The right tool for the job. And then just repeat that 20 more times, then you're golden. Right. So we've been through, bevel the edges. Everyone's got one of those blocks. And if you get a little bit of swarf left over, you can just come through with a scalpel and just run it very gently over the end. You just cut that little bit away. All you need to do. And take your fret leveling bar, run down that, run down it with a 320. Make sure you've got your edge nice, and I've got different bars with loads of different grits that I'll just go through and just make sure we're real nice and smooth, and that edge is perfectly sitting on the edge of the fingerboard. Right, I think you can only see in this bit, so let's just pick this one. Loads of people make fret end files and all bits and pieces. I always found them to be too coarse, or I didn't like them. They stuck up too much. Even the StewMac little triangle one I didn't like very much. So I just took the finest cut file I could and made my own little handle for it. And I use this for stainless, Evo Gold and nickel. You want to come in sort of like, I don't know, 45, a little bit steeper. Yeah, you want to come in, just nip off that corner, and then you're going to just do that sort of movement. Just nip off the corner, and that kind of sort of rounding over movement, and gives you a nice little dome. You can sort of just fanny around and do that, but if you've already put your bevel on and then you start doing the rounding, it doesn't give you a 100% hemispherical fret end. So yeah, you've got to go about there with a different method. But if you can just come straight up against it and hit it and start doing that, but what you'll find is you end up with a tiny wee little bit in the corner. So if you just come in at an angle, you just kind of like nip that off, and then start coming in, then you're golden. So let me just nip around and do the others. Right, all your ends are rounded, and then take yourself a new fresh razor blade, and you're just going to come through and very gently break that edge. You're not gouging at it or anything like that, you literally just run it backwards and forwards. Just want to take that sharp edge there off, just breaking it down, just basically faking some play wear into the board. Going through with some 240 grit. And this will help round that lip over there with the edge of the board. It'll also help just to round the fret ends and just get them all nice. Make sure you've gone over it with that. Then I use these foam pads. Wrap it around your finger. 600 grit. And 1200 as well. Oh, and there we go. Slicker than my hair in the 90s. There you go. That's just the fret ends. Put in. We haven't crowned or polished it yet. That's what you want to be aiming for. Right, let's get on with some. What we can do? Crown and polish it, or make a nut? Let's crown it and polish it first. Right, got ourselves a nut blank. Fretwork's all done, so we know that's the finished height of the frets. Get yourself a pencil, cut it in half. The carpenter's ones are my preferred one. You can buy a really expensive tool that does it, but you know, I'll do the same thing. Mark yourself your edges so you know where you're gonna be cutting roughly to. Draw yourself a line there, and that's where you're going to be cutting your nut slots down to. And then I use a 50 thou 0.5 Is it 50 thou? I don't know. 0.50. I think that's in millimetres. Who knows? Feeler gauge. And then just draw yourself a line over the top of it so you know roughly where you're going to be sanding to. Yeah. Then there you go. So you can see it. There we go. Yeah, sand to those lines. That simple. Right. Work out a nut spacing. Even though this is super wide, we're still going to be measuring in the same distance as we normally would. Otherwise, your slots are going to start in there, aren't they? Which will look daft. But we are going to do line one of the marks up all the way through so you know it's bang on the edge of the board. And you're going to go 3.5 mil on the base side. Make sure you draw a line in the right place. And you want to go 3 mil. Here we go. On the treble side. And get yourself, you can work out a load of maths. I don't want to. get yourself one of them handy dandy rulers, and then you just sort of slide it around until you find where 6 slots all match up with themselves. So you got a big one and a little one, and you slide it around until either you've got 2 big ones down either end, and then the corresponding amount of slots that you need, or one of the little ones. Get in there. Get in there. There we go. That lines up. So we've got big. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's not enough. That's not enough, is it? Even by my maths. So just keep sliding down till it lines up with 6 slots. Found the one that fits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and number 6. Beautiful. Make sure you tape your fret up. Otherwise you're going to damage the work you've just done. Get yourself a little X-Acto saw. And come in and just make yourself, just start, you're not cutting all the way down yet, you just starting it, and keep it in line with the tuner hole so you know you're shooting straight. Unless you're on a Gibson or something and then you actually want to angle the nut slot to the tuner, and then you stop having the weird tuning issues that you get on Gibsons. Right, tape all that up. We're going to be running 1046, so that's what we're going to cut to. And then that little line down the bottom, you're just going to cut with your file down to that. Job done. And that's all we can really do with this, because the neck's being shipped out to Dave, and Dave is going to take care of it himself. So we want to get it as close as possible, so that ideally he can just put the neck on. And it's, where's my 46 file? Where's that one? And he's good to go. He puts the tuners on, screws it in, and he's golden. He doesn't have to do anything setup wise. make sure to check your work, because some nut slot material or some nut material cuts quicker than others. Boom. Also, when you're cutting a nut, you're not cutting straight, like as in the files. Where are you? There, like that, dead straight through the nut slot. You want it to be doing that because you want the string. Say that's the front edge of your nut. If it's dead straight, yeah, exaggerated terms, and this is your nut slot. That is where your string's coming out of it, and that's where it's going to intonate from, which is wrong. So you want it to be doing that, so it's intonating to as close as that point as possible, giving you accurate intonation at the first fret. Right, repeat 5 other times. And once you've got all your slots cut, just go through and give it its final shaping and whatnot. There's a couple of different ways to skin this cat. Like, a lot of guys will make a nut completely off of the guitar and then just glue it in place, but I like to have the sides of the nut perfect with the fretboard, so I know it's sitting in there perfectly, and I know the string spacing is bang on the edge of the board. Like, I know if you've made the nut properly and blah blah blah, and it's, you know, I just want it to be in there, and I know everything's 100%, so I make them on the guitar. Yeah, your mileage may vary. If you do mash the tape up, make sure you always stick another bit down and keep everything protected. And you're aiming for the bass side, you want half. How do I explain this correctly? The nut slot needs to be half the thickness of the string for the bass side. For the treble side, it wants to be the full thickness of the string. If you do a too shallow nut slot, what happens when you bend, you'll pull the string out of the nut. There you go. Look at me explaining things properly. Plus, it looks a bit better. Like, I don't like the crimson fret end file for fret ends, but for doing a nut, it's spot on. For anything else, personally, I think it's too coarse. In my humble opinion. And you're having to work way harder than you need to if you're using coarse files and super coarse papers. And then the same sort of movement we did for the fret ends, so everything sort of matches and is all nicely like copacetic and whatnot. Here we go. Just put your little round edge there. Tiny quick one just on that top edge. You're not taking anything off of that because you don't want to move the intonation point backwards. We're just taking that very top lip off, just so it doesn't give you something to catch your hand on. Just round off all the corners just ever so slightly. Depending on nut material is depending on how far you need to polish it. And we are using Corian for this one. And the joy of Corian is you can literally just sand it to 320, polish it, and you're done. bit of that. One last thing I'll do is just nip ever so, just open up the back side of the slot. Just so there's no string pinching and stuff like that. Probably too much medium cut polish. Make sure you get the edges. And just take your thinnest nut slot, or nut file, sorry, and just scoop out the polish. There you go, job done. And you get a nice shiny nut. Lovely. Look at those frets. Oh, that looks good, doesn't it? Right then. There we go. Oof. Looks right, doesn't it? It's nice. Big old wide flame on it. I quite like that. Still need to put some wax on it. So we'll put a couple of 3 coats of wax on it, build that up over the next few days, and then it can get packaged up and shipped out to Dave. He's going to put the tuners in it, the string ferrules, and screw it into the body. He likes to tinker, so he's more than happy to do that. So happy days. Saves me a job, doesn't it? Yeah, probably a very long video. Hope you liked it. Nice. Till next time. Say bye.